Hello everyone, this is the third grade enhanced math, week 15, statistics, graphs, and average solution video. Problem 1. The line graph shows the number of bobbleheads sold at a store each year. The sale of bobbleheads increased the most between, and then we have a multiple choice selection right here. First, we see here that between these numbers, since there are a few places in which they're not exactly at the line, so we can just mark these as 30, 50, and 70. Okay, so between the 2016 and 2017, we see here that it increased roughly about 15 because as you see here, this dot marked in red is a slightly between 30 and 40, and the middle is 30. So roughly an increase of around 15. And then for 2017 to 2018, we see here that there is an even marginally a smaller gap, which is just 35 to 40. So we can just mark that as 5. And then from 2018 to 2019, we see here that it actually decreased. So it actually decreased around, let's say, 5 again. So -5. And then from 2019 to 2020, obviously that is the largest jump from 40 to 60. So that is 20. And then from 2020 to 2021, again, we see a marginally smaller jump from 60 to around 75, so 15. Therefore, it's clear that D is our answer because the sales of bobbleheads increased the most. So D. Problem 2. Based on the graph shown, how many vehicles had an average speed of at least 80 kilometers per hour? At least 80 kilometers per hour is that we need to start from this graph marked in red and move onwards. So how many vehicles? Well, we see here that between 80 to 89 kilometers per hour, we have 15. So we've marked 15 here. And then from 90 to 99, we have 30. So we mark 30 here. And then finally from 100 to 109, we have 5. So all we have to do is add these numbers together. 15 plus 5 equals to 20, and 20 plus 30 equals to 50. So 50 vehicles. Problem 3. In a math test, Aaron got 94, Betty got 90, and Calvin got 85. What was the average score of these three students? Remember, average is taking, hold on, let me write this. Average is taking entire score and divide it by how many people. So number of people. So in this case, all we have to do is add up 94, 90, and 83. 90 plus 94 plus 83, that gives us 267. So that's 267. Divided by the number of people. Well, as we know that number of people, there's Aaron, Betty, and Calvin. So that means that there's 3 people. We know that the total average must just be 89 on this test. So the average score of these students are just 89. Problem 4. The Gauss family has 3 kids with heights 130 centimeters, 145 centimeters, and 151 centimeters. What is their average height? Previously, like the similar question above, we can just add up these heights all together. 130 plus 145 equals to 275. And then 275 plus the 151, well, we can quickly get is 426 centimeters. So their accumulated height is 426. However, we need to divide this by their number of kids, which is 3. Dividing this by 3, we get that their average height is 142 centimeters, spanning from their 3 kids. So that is your answer for problem 4. Problem 5. The graph shows the number of minutes studied by both Asha, which is the black bar, and Sasha, gray bar, in 1 week. On the average, how many more minutes per day did Sasha study than Asha? We see here that the black represents Asha. We need to find out the accumulated time studied by both and then divide them by the total amount of days that they studied, which for both is 5. So let's start off with Asha first, which is the black bar. So let me write Asha. Her total was 60 for Monday plus 90 because this bar is in the middle of 180. So obviously that's just 90 plus 100 plus 80 again for Thursday. And finally plus 70 for Friday. And then once we add these all together, this is just 400. And then 400 divided by 5, which is the number of days that she studied, this is just 80 minutes. So let me write 80 minutes for Asha, 80 minutes per day. And then now we found Asha, so let's find out what Sasha did. Sasha is the gray one. So for Monday, Sasha did 70. So let me write Sasha first. Sasha did 70 because it's in the middle between 80 and 60. For Monday, for Tuesday, she did 80. For Wednesday, she did 120. And then for Thursday, she did 110. And for the last day, she only did 50. We can add all these together again. And finally, what we should get is 430 minutes accumulated study time. We can just divide 430 by 5, and this gives us 86 minutes per day. How many more minutes per day did Sasha study than Asha? Well, 86 minus 80, that just gives us 6 minutes. So the answer is 6 minutes. Problem 6. The average age of 5 people in a room is 30 years. An 18-year-old leaves the room. What is the average age of the 4 remaining people inside this room? Okay, so for this problem, let's see that at the beginning, the total age was 30 times 5. Because since the average is 30 and there's 5 people, we can just multiply it back on, which is the total age is 150 years old total. And then after the 18-year-old leaves, the total age of the remaining group would just be down 18 minus 18 equals to 132 years old. And so the average would just be 132 years old divided by the 4 people remaining in the room. This would just be 33 years old average. And that is your answer for problem 6. Problem 7. There are 5 numbers A, B, C, D, and E. The average of A, B, and C is 24, while the average of D, E is 14. What is the average of these 5 numbers? So first, we know that the average of A, B, and C is 24. So this would only mean A plus B plus C divided by 3, since there are 3 numbers, A, B, and C. This was equal to 24. So therefore, the sum of A, B, and C would just be 72, because 24 times 3, that's just 72. And this would be sum of A, B, and C. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we have DE. So D plus E divided by 2, since there's 2 letters, equals to 14. And then this would just mean 14 times 2 equals to 28, sum of D and E. D and E. Okay, so now we have to add 72 and 28 together. 72 plus 28, this would be 100. And then 100, let me just do sum of 5 numbers. And then we can proceed to 100 divided by 5 numbers. This just gives us 20 average. So the average of these 5 numbers is 20. And finally, problem 8. Matthew drove from city A to city B that was 120 miles away. His average speed was 60 miles per hour. On his way back from city B to city A due to heavy traffic, his average speed dropped to only 40 miles per hour. So the question asking is, what was his average speed of this round trip? Recall that average speed, so average speed, is just the distance over time. So let me write distance over time. Okay? And then the time Matthew spent from driving to A to B, so let me draw A to B, would just be 120 because 120 miles away, divided by 60 because his average speed was 60, equals to 2 hours to determine the time that he drove. So 2 hours. And then the time Matthew spent on the way back from B to A, so B back to A, or should I write it this way? Let's write it this way. B returning to A. This is still 120 miles because the distance never changes. However, his average speed was only 40, so this makes him drive for 3 hours. And then it's asking us the average speed of the whole trip. Well, the total distance for the whole trip was 240, since 120 times 2 is 240, divided by 5, because that's his total travel time, 5 hours, and that gives us 48 miles per hour for his total trip average speed. So 48 is his average speed.